welcome to the Power to Fly virtual job fair. This is all part of the September summit titled Early Career Connections and Mid-Career Pivots. And can we all relate? We are going to start with introductions. I'm going to start with our great colleague, Cody Winters, who is the Senior Director of Talent Acquisition at Science Logic. Welcome, Cody. It's great to have you here. Could you talk a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about Science Logic and its core values?
Yes, I'd be happy to. And first and foremost, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to the Power to Fly team and specifically Michelle. She's put a lot of sweat equity into this event behind the scenes. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you for that. We're very appreciative and happy to be here with all of you today. I can relate quite a bit with all of you guys that are here and in the job market and looking for new opportunities. I actually joined Science Logic almost 2 months ago. So I am still in my honeymoon phase and have been enjoying it quite a bit. It's been an awesome ride. A little bit about myself. I have almost 12 years of talent acquisition experience spread across 3 different organizations, most recently now to include Science Logic. I've worked in global environments for the past 5-6 years, and before that, worked specifically within the U.S. government and supporting government contractors in the United States. A little bit about Science Logic, and I know all of you can see what is on the screen, so I'm going to share a little bit more that isn't on the screen with you. We are about 650 employees strong across the globe today, and we are a IT operations management focused organization. We provide modern IT operations with actionable insights to predict and resolve problems faster in a digital world. Our IT infrastructure monitoring and AI ops platform sees everything across cloud and distributed architectures. It contextualizes data through relationship mapping and acts on those insights through integration automation. We are trusted by thousands of organizations across the world. Science Logic's technology was designed for the rigorous security requirements of the US Department of Defense and proven for scale by the world's largest service providers and optimized for the needs of large enterprises. We are still a privately owned organization today and are continuing to build for scale and growth. I'm sure a lot of you have seen in the market, a lot of companies are going through some tough times in terms of layoffs and downsizing or pulling back a little bit on second half of the year of 2022 spend. I can tell you that Science Logic is not. We are growing, we are hiring across the globe. And just this week had a lot of celebration around, we actually got approved by India government to open up an entity in India specifically. So if you're following Science Logic, thank you. If you're not, I would encourage you to do so as we continue to grow and scale. And last but not least, in regards to Science Logic, for the last 2 years running, we've been named to Forrester's Wave report as a leader and standout organization for the type of offerings that we have as an organization. I'd love to click into briefly here our core values. I think at the core of who we are as an organization, you'll see here to the right of your screen 5 different focus areas for us in terms of what matters to us in terms of the core values that we have. And specifically where I'll start and what I'd like to call out is we want everyone that we employ to be nerdy. What does it truly mean to be nerdy? We want to encourage you to come to Science Logic with a passion for your craft. Each one of you out there and on this call has a craft, right? We want you to have a never-ending curiosity and constantly strive to innovate, as well as foster pride in what you've innovated on or with or through. So when we say be nerdy, we mean it. If you've watched videos of our CEO, you will know that this is one that is very important to him. So we really, really encourage you as you join Science Logic to truly have a passion for your craft and let that passion shine through and shine very brightly. Second to that is empowering success. What do we mean when we say we want to empower success at Science Logic? We are a mission-focused organization. We encourage and push for cross-functional collaboration, and ownership, accountability, and integrity mean a very, very great deal to all of us at Science Logic. And we want you to step through the Science Logic doors knowing that we are here to empower your future success. And we are going to encourage and support you throughout that journey of your tenure at Science Logic. And last but not least, in regards to empowering success, you're free to perform. We
Mhm.
encourage you to take smart risks. We challenge you to take risks, fail fast, fail often. Um, Create wow. I would say as a as a new employee to Science Logic and being here for about 2 months now, Create Wow is the one that I attach to most. And you'll see I have 4 of my teammates and colleagues here today. I think that this one jumps off the page to me. There are 4 Science Logic recruiters and team members that will be present during the breakout rooms today that combined have hired almost 200 people into Science Logic this year. Through those hires, we've absolutely created wow. We earn customer loyalty. And when I say customer, I mean true customer and the candidate. The candidate is a customer. We want to provide a wow experience to each candidate that we interact with. And it is certainly a North Star for us and something that we continue to achieve and look to get better at. We want to achieve extraordinary results at Science Logic and create a sense of delight for everyone that we interact with internally and more importantly, externally with our organization. And to conclude, um, be bold. Uh, we want you to step into Science Logic, taking risk, as I'd mentioned, and encourage you to accept new ideas or out of the box thoughts and opinions in regards to how we get after the problems that we're trying to solve for or solution for. There's no ego at Science Logic. I attach to that very deeply. And it was one of the things that truly drew me into Science Logic is everyone that I've interacted with, my team, cross-functional stakeholders, we are here for something bigger than ourselves. And that is exciting. That gets me out of bed. And once I really want to run really hard at achieving the goals that we have as an organization when you're surrounded by folks that are very like-minded. And we're candid. We are very candid. There's constructive feedback. I think that we all need that. There's positive feedback. It's when you can approach an individual and have a healthy conversation where you see results larger than any single person themselves. Last but not least, but the most important that I would touch on here, Dr. Ida, is you matter. Each one of you on this call matter. And we know people are our strongest asset. We embrace diversity. We invest in our talent, which you'll hear more about in some of the questions and breakout rooms. And we absolutely recognize achievement very often at Science Logic. So each one of our Science Logic team members, I believe, truly attaches to these core values. We carry these around with us. They are always present on my desk any day in the office. So once again, thank you all for the time. I know that it is an investment on your end as well to be here today. We're excited to meet you during the breakout sessions. And I think that wraps it up for Science Logic. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Honestly, you had me at Be Nerdy, right? And I think some others might have as well, right? Because I think so much of it has to do with really inviting those that are with us to really instill that sense of curiosity, right? And that align with your values and kind of your dreams or where you want to go can really make something very powerful happen. And if we happen to find then a company or an industry that really aligns with that, then it starts getting us closer to an even better position in terms of the kind of workplace that we want to be and the kind of impact that we want to be able to make in the world. So really thank you so much for that. And I know I'm not the only one who connected with a Be Nerdy, because I saw you all for sure. And thank you for that. Now, we're going to turn it over to Christy Irvin, who is joining us. Christy is a Senior Vice President of Talent Acquisition with our partners at Bank of America. It is so great to have you here. Christy, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what Bank of America is up to and some of their values that would be of interest to those joining us today?
Yeah, no, thank you, Dr. Ida. And thank you to Power to Fly. Just like Cody, we're honored to be here today. And we want to welcome everybody to the call. I am a Director of Talent Acquisition at Bank of America. I look after, among other things, our women's recruiting strategies. That's one reason we're so excited to work with Power to Fly. I have been with the company about 20 years. So Cody, I was smiling. I was thinking back, kind of 2 months into my own career at Bank of America and sort of how things have changed. But in that time, I've had lots of different roles in HR. It's all been focused on people and inclusion and diversity and inclusion. It's been a wonderful ride with the company. I have a feeling a lot of folks probably have heard of Bank of America. We bank 1 out of every 2 households in the U.S. I hope there's a lot of customers on the call as well, and we thank you for your business if you are. Our mission is to make financial lives better through the power of every connection. And we've got 2 types of customers: retail customers. A lot of you, if you are customers, are probably retail customers. So when you think about banks and checking accounts and savings accounts and auto loans, card products, we certainly provide all of those services to our retail customers. But we also have a big institutional banking business where we work with companies that require banking services. So whether it's investment banking or trading or treasury services or electronic payments, we do all of that. We also have a 70,000 person technology shop. So banks are really just technology companies in disguise. So like Cody, we love technology creators, feeling there are lots of folks on the call today that are interested in technology. We've got now about 17,000 openings at Bank of America, which seems huge until you realize we have 210,000 folks. But out of those 17,000, about 2,000 of those openings are technology openings. And those are openings globally where, even though it's Bank of America, we are actually located in over 30 countries around the world. So we're on every continent. I think that's one of the things, candidly, I love the most about the bank's culture is, in the course of my day, it's not unusual for me to talk to somebody from every corner of the world, which makes it really, really cool to come to work and brings kind of new perspective to what diversity looks like. So if you want to shift quickly to the core values slide, Dr. Ada, we'll talk a little bit about that. In terms of kind of what we do as a bank, we just talked about that. Sort of who we are as a company is represented by this slide. So our chairman starts every meeting with this slide. This is our placemat. This is how we describe what we do. So you'll see a question there. What do you want the power to do? That's a question our CEO asks every customer. He asks every employee. I mean, we're in the business of empowering people. And if it's a customer, empowering people through their financial lives. If it's an employee, empowering people by providing really interesting quality work and the training and support resources to kind of get you there. So a couple things, we're super focused on organic growth. So you'll see, some bullets around responsible growth. But we do want to grow in the right way. So there have been lots of, newspaper articles about, really any number of companies that have grown the wrong way and they haven't done the right things for customers and communities. So we're very, very focused on growing within our risk framework, growing within kind of the proper rules of our regulators, growing in a sustainable manner, making sure that we meet our customers' needs. Our core values really define who we are. And there's 4 that you'll see. deliver together and trust the team. Those are all about teamwork. There is nothing that happens at Bank of America, candidly, without a team powering up to get it done. So we spend a lot of time focused on team building. We spend a lot of time with our managers focused on creating great teams. I mean, it is all about the team and our people. I've been doing, some type of HR work or recruiting work for 20 years at the bank. I would tell you our biggest asset are our people and those teams. When I ask people why they come to the bank, they say because the people in your organization were so impressive. They were so smart. They really cared about what they do. And then one of my roles was our executive recruiter role. And I would hire executives, and then I would follow up with them 6 months, a year later. And I would say, how's it going? Are you excited? The answer was absolutely. And when I would ask why, they would say, because we have the best people on the planet. So if you're looking for great teammates, we are all about that at Bank of America. And that's the last couple values, act responsibly. That's all about us being a good corporate citizen. But where I want to spend a little bit of time today is investing in and realizing the power of our people. That's really what we've been focused on for the last couple of years. So, I know we can all relate. The last couple of years have just been crazy in terms of the pandemic. We have spent a lot of time focused on health and safety and keeping our people safe. We have all sorts of new partnerships with health experts and health networks to make sure that we understand, the protocols, not just for the pandemic, but for bringing people back to work post-pandemic, which is where we are now. One thing I'd want to share, because I think it says a lot about the character of our chairman, in 2020, when the pandemic kind of came into view, he said, look, nobody's going to lose their job this year at Bank of America, because given everything else that we have to worry about, I don't want employees working about job loss. And during that time, I worked with a lot of folks who are high risk for COVID that we literally had to go find a totally different job for them to do so that they could stay employed. And I love that because it just says so much about the character of our chairman. We've also given all of our employees who are 100,000 or less a 7% cost of living increase to make up for the inflation that we're experiencing now in the economy. So it's a management team that really, really cares about its workforce. And I think that's super impressive. It's also a management team that cares about the community. We made at the beginning of 2020 a 5-year, $1.25 billion commitment to make sure that we could help provide partners that were providing education services, job skills training, and other great services to individuals who just needed to get to work. And we are super proud of that. We feel like that's really important in terms of addressing some of the issues around inequity that exist in our world today. We have spent a lot of time really focused on our benefits and what did those look like in a post-pandemic world. So I won't go through the whole list, but we've increased the money that we're spending on, childcare for our employees, lots of resources around mental health and wellness that we haven't had in the past. We have a life event services team. This is one of the things I'm most proud of, which is a team of HR professionals who is there to support employees. And literally during the days of the pandemic, they spent hours on the phone talking to individuals who are impacted by COVID to make sure that they were getting the right medical care, that they understood what the leave policies were, like anything they needed, right? Our HR team was Johnny on the spot with our employees, taking care of them. And then we've got a lot of the sort of standard benefits that you would expect a big company to have. We spent $22 million on tuition assistance. In 2021, we have 401k plans. Some things that might surprise you, we do a lot in terms of youth for our employees. We've got college admissions counseling. If anybody's got a college-age child and they're thinking about getting into college, or even counseling services for youth, which is great. So I could give you the Bank of America benefits list all day, but what I would want you to take away from is this is a company that's investing in its culture, it's investing in its people, and it's got a management committee who cares deeply about the individuals who work here. And for a big company, I think that's really, really special. In terms of, I was trying to think about sort of we've got, again, 17,000 jobs open, so there's no way to kind of talk about all of them. But when you think about what makes people qualified for most of our jobs, it's really kind of the core natural traits that a lot of folks possess. It's intellectual curiosity. Dr. Ada mentioned that kind of early in the call. We want people who want to learn, because no matter what your role is, it's going to change regularly. We've got a tremendous learning academy. We actually call them the academy. it's an award-winning organization where for each of our business units, they're creating amazing training programs to help make sure that people can do their jobs and they can do the job that they're going to be in the next couple of years from now. So intellectual curiosity is a big piece of it. Customer orientation, good communication skills, good leadership skills, all of those traits, and good Excel acumen. So if any of you are kind of early career and you're thinking, hey, what should I focus on? Our bank, in addition to all the great technology we have, Excel is important in almost every job. So, those are the types of traits, regardless of the role, that we look to hire people into. And one thing I would want to share, one of the reasons I've been here for 20 years, and we've got a lot of folks here like myself who've been here for 20 years, is we've been able to find new work, new jobs, new challenges, all under the same platform. So I think when you've got a big company and there's lots of opportunity and there's lots of freedom from an internal mobility perspective to move around, there's just lots of opportunities that you can experience all under one roof. And I know that's important. And it's so important that over the last couple of years, we've actually got a team of internal coaches. We call them our internal mobility coaches, who sit down and they work with our employees to understand, okay, what would you like to go do to help those employees figure out what are the career paths that you can potentially follow? And then to help those employees create some advocacy so that they can get in those career paths. So it's important to us, again, not just to keep our folks healthy and well, make sure they have the right benefits, but we know career progression and being able to advance in your work and find meaningful work is a big part of what most folks are interested in. So I think we're going to get to some other, I could talk all day, but I think there's some interesting questions, right, that might kind of lead to Cody and I answering some different aspects of the culture. Let's stop with that. Let's give Powerfly a chance to talk, and then I'll look forward to answering the bigger picture questions you've got for us, Dr. Ada.
Sounds great, Christy. And just to mention to those who are participating, I haven't forgotten about you. I know there's some questions out there. I want to give our speakers an opportunity to give you information and also answer some questions that we have prepared for them. And then we'll circle back to make sure that we have that for you, so we haven't forgotten. Thank you, Christy, for that. I think that definitely for those who are participating in this, keeping in mind some of the things that really stuck with me was responsive leadership. Such an important piece to look for as you're going into job searching. What it tells the difference, right? What does the organization do during critical times like what we just experienced with COVID? That starts telling the story about where every company, industry, and organization may be moving towards. And also the flexibility of being able to go through things like policy reviews and an active response to the needs of not only the current employees that you have, but that kind of breed of new folks that are coming in that are looking for more flexibility and that are looking for places that really align even further with their values, which I think it's very important. So thank you for that, Christy. I am going to turn it over to our friend and colleague, Dina Noufal, who is an engineer manager here at Power to Fly. So Dina, if you could start talking to us a little bit about yourself and then Power to Fly.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ida. And thank you, Cody and Christy, for the impressive introduction, actually. So my name is Dina. I'm engineering manager at Power to Fly team. I'm from Jordan. I have joined Power to Fly since almost 7 years. I have actually joined as a QA team lead, and then I had the chance to move up in my career to be a QA lead, and then a project manager, and then I have promoted to be an engineering manager recently. So I hold about 13 years of experience in the domain of software quality assurance and 4 years of experience in people management. My experience basically is focused on building the quality process for quality team, also building Scrum process for the whole engineering team, and leading the engineering team. So yeah, that's all about my experience. And I'm also glad to tell you more about Power to Fly. So Power to Fly founded in 2014. We are more than 150 employees. We are located in about like 31 countries, I think. So let me just tell you more about Power to Fly mission. Power to Fly founded to fast track economic equity by upskilling and connecting underrepresented talent to role in a highly visible sector. We are woman-led, we are intersectional, we focus on empowering underrepresented talent from all ages, ethnicities, gender, and races. I also wanted to talk more about our core beliefs. So number one, we believe in power of the diverse voices. We also believe that no matter where are you in the world, how you identified, you should have equal opportunities. And unfortunately, equal opportunities are still not well distributed, or like opportunity is still not well distributed. So Power to Fly mission is to fix this gap. Also, another core belief of ours is the best way to change the society is through jobs, because jobs is income and income drive change. And so we are mainly focused on jobs. We actually achieve, thank you, Ida. We achieve our mission daily through connecting diverse talent to a free virtual events with decision makers from companies, whether they are looking to change their jobs or they are happy to in their current role. So we feature upskilling content and host summit within industry leaders creating diverse, inclusive, and equitable workplaces. So I would tell you more about our values. Sorry, I'm seeing some, can you hear me correctly? Yeah, because I'm seeing some internet issue.
Yes, we can. Yeah, I think we're getting good feedback. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ida. So I just want to go over our values. So first value we have is the global team first. So we are a fully remote team. And the global team is the core reason of our growing business. So we can only be successful if all type of individual are heard and valued. The next value is our community and clients are treated equally and exceptionally. So in Power to Fly, everyone is treated equally and exceptionally, no matter who you are and where are you from. So whether you are actually a woman looking to enhance your career, or you are a decision maker at a multinational company looking to apply diversity for your team, you will be treated exceptionally with Power to Fly team. The next one is transparent optimist. We are optimistic that we can impact institutions that are long overdue for changing how they hire, retain, and promote underrepresented talent. We share blueprint for success and relay feedback early and often, especially when companies try to leverage us for performative allyship, unlike as social posts. Building diverse teams and retaining them is hard work that requires significant resources and intense feedback loops. And next, we are open and inclusive to all. As I said earlier, we are woman-led, intersectional, and focused on empowering underrepresented talent across all races and ages, ethnicity, any sexual orientation, abilities, your gender identity. We believe that representation matters and want to help people from all backgrounds, regardless of how they identify. So you feel that you belong to Power to Fly. Next one is grow as an owner. So we believe in accountability by fueling the growth mindset required to build the company as co-owners. So every team member or every full-time team member has unlimited paid time off and high degrees of flexibility through a permanent remote work, so they can thrive everywhere in the world. You can actually work from anywhere in the world. We are fully remote, and you have also unlimited paid time off. Next one is having fun by being yourself. Our work actually is serious and drives lasting impact throughout global community. That does not mean we cannot show up as our most authentic selves and enjoy the journey. So building a platform with lasting impact requires levity and pacing to get throughout the problems. So we celebrate smart work, not endless tasks that lead to burnout. Again, our team is a very diverse team. Our mission is to provide opportunities and advancement for underrepresented talents. So yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you, Ida.
Thank you, Dina. And I, I think it's essentially what we're saying is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging should be at the cornerstone of not just the work that we do at Powered to Fly, but really to every company and industry that wants to stay relevant. Things are changing, the demographics are shifting and have been shifting, and therefore we become a more holistic and better globally positioned companies and industries by being able to really expand that knowledge and being able to provide service and create really as inclusive and sustainable spaces as we can within the work. And we are going to move forward with some questions that we have, and because we're already at 30 minutes, I want to encourage us to stay as focused on the questions as possible. There's a number of them that are going to be directed to a particular speaker, and we want to be able to give a little bit of room for folks to at least get a few of the questions that we might have from the chat. If for some reason, let me apologize in advance, if we can't get to it, please hold on to them so that you can join the breakout rooms and be able to ask directly to folks. So we'll still have some opportunities for you. So Cody, I get to start with you. In many ways the shifts in the workplace and kind of the different ways in which we're looking at the role of the workplace in our lives, it really has to do with how welcoming and the sense of belonging that we can have in our places of work. Talk a little bit about kind of when you're working with new hires, how does Science Logic work to help them feel welcome and part of the team as soon as they come in?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And I actually was one of these new hires recently, so it's very fresh in my mind. We have a number of enablement programs and as well a world-class HR orientation. I'm actually still involved and going through different onboarding sessions and classes after 2 months here. So it's very extensive and very helpful. This includes not only the onboarding, but what we refer to as pre-boarding. Actions which welcome employees to the team before they even start with Science Logic. We send welcome notes and packages, including Science Logic swag, emails welcoming them to the team and introducing them to their respective organizations, and showcasing to them on how our internal engagement site, when they join the company, can support them. Asking all employees to join in and send a welcome message to the new hire always is a great action, and one that we encourage our team members to take. We also include bios for their team so that they can easily integrate once they join the organization. So for us, from a candidate experience standpoint, I know the question says new hires, but before that, it's the pre-boarding, when you still are a candidate, when you haven't yet maybe walked through the Science Logic doors, but you've said yes to us. That time is crucial and very, very important and pivotal for us to continue to provide you as a up and coming new hire an experience that gets you even more excited to join our team.
That pre-boarding piece is huge, and it's really good that participants are hearing about it so that they can ask more questions of companies as they go along. One way is as we welcome this very diverse talent and diverse voices to get them feeling a part of Science Logic and Bank of America and Powered to Fly, is really building community, alliances and partnerships across different industries, including nonprofits and local businesses. Christy, this one's for you with Bank of America. I know that you all get connected in quite a variety of different ways. How has Bank of America explored this avenues of connecting across different partnerships with different industries, nonprofits, local businesses, and kind of what has been your experiences with those?
Yeah, no. So thank you for the question. And just, much like Science Logic, we do have world-class onboarding. The Academy is continually refining that. And the support of managers and teams is probably the most critical thing, right? In terms of getting people up to speed. But to your point, Dr. Ida, one way to make a big place feel small is to get people connected in community right away, right? So we have a huge employee network base. We've got 11 different employee networks that represent, different aspects of who we are as people. They have 235 chapters around the world, and those employee networks are really actively engaged in onboarding. We also have different programs. I'll use our Pathways program as an example. So we've got our campus programs, which you would expect, but we also have a program for individuals who don't have a college degree, but they'd like to get involved in areas like technology. We work with a number of different partners in our local markets to generate a pipeline and to build relationships with those candidates even before they get hired, right, with the firm. So again, that's a really good example. And there's a gazillion of those. I mean, Europe is a partner that we work with, right, where we provide internships for individuals who are part of the Europe community. And, assuming it works out, we make them part of our employee base. So there's a lot that we do in that regard. Something that I'm super excited about, if I can do a little bit of a commercial for, we are relaunching our returning talent program for those folks that have taken a career break. We know that a lot of folks during the pandemic just needed a timeout, right, to handle things. So we are bringing returners back in all of our different lines of business. Our academy's got the functional and technical training for returners to make sure that they're up to speed on the job. But then we have returner support that we're building out as well. And so specialized training and education around emotional intelligence, how to tell your story, how to get reintegrated into the workplace, work-life balance. There's some pathways around professional skills that individuals are a part of. And then we're creating a community for returners as well. So they've got a safe place to go, right? One, to make that big organization feel smaller, but two, just to sort of share, right? Here's what's going on with me as I reintegrate, and to get peer perspective on, what's helpful. So we've got recruiters who are going to be in the returnship breakout room. They're there to share more. So we'd love to talk with folks about that.
I love the returnship piece, and it's such a great opportunity. And also I love the fact that we're really, as industries, we're considering also not just to focus on people with degrees, right? Because there's just like, oftentimes I think that that's another area that I think we can get very elitist as a community around the work. And I think that there's amazing talent out there in this work. So that's very exciting, and another hint for folks to join in the returnship group in this. Absolutely. Dina, coming to you. So, psychological safety is something that people have talked about that makes a difference in work environments, right? And they want to be able to be in work environments that they can feel that they're safe, that they're taken seriously, that any concerns that they might have that are fully investigated, and it's a holistic view to the human being. Can you talk a little bit about how does Power to Fly create a safe space for reporting acts of like discrimination, for example?
Yeah, sure, of course. So Power to Fly is constantly striving to build a more inclusive workplace where everyone's thoughts and opinions are valued and where safety is prioritized for sure. So we believe that Power to Fly and the impactful work we do is a reflection of our people. We are always working to build career process that ensure everyone has a voice and feels supported within the workplace. So for this process, our HR and DIB team work closely and collaborate actually to provide holistic support to the rest of the team. We have like a whole internal system or a process to report any incident that may have violated Power to Fly policies, or also we have another system that to share thoughts and feedback with the DEIB team around any specific instance or incidents. So all the employees' opinions are valued, and we have like a whole team to work on this.
Absolutely. And really an internal company commitment, right? That we are going to be addressing, and that issues, and also that that psychological safety is centered, right? And that we are deeply committed to this work and making sure that everybody feels like they belong and that they're a part of a company. So all very important, critical questions for our participants to make sure that they have in their toolkit to ask questions of recruiters around this. Cody, I'm coming back to you. So we've talked about a little bit about kind of what it takes to create a culture. Many of you have talked about the creation of culture around your companies and a culture of support, of really centering inclusion and very actively in this process of really listening to your employees and really responding to it. Can you talk a little bit about how has Science Logic, or any other experiences that you've had, have intentionally built a culture that is collaborative and caring, where diverse and a multitude of different voices would not just be heard, but also amplified and centered?
Yes, thank you. I'd be happy to. Um, we're very intentional about creating an environment that's inclusive and anchored to our core values that I mentioned earlier in the call. Be nerdy, you matter, empower success, be bold, and create wow. We drive a focus on these core values into everything that we do for employees and customers at Science Logic. We build fundamental competencies of empathy, cross-functional collaboration, and skills for all of our employees in our silo experience customer impact training. This is also a key element in the first 90 days of onboarding for all new employees across the globe. We create opportunities for employees to share and give voice to their own deeply rooted personal core values, and respect and honor those core values that each one of us has and of the people that we work with. We have workshops on mindset and values, as well as emotional intelligence for all of our people leaders as well. There's a little bit more that I'd love to click into here, but I'll save for hopefully the next question if we make it back around. If not, to the attendees, know that we will be in the breakout sessions as well, and we'll be able to speak more to some of what we call ERGs, which are our employee resource groups. It's a pretty cool thing that we have here at Science Logic. So a little teaser.
Ooh, a little teaser. And those are powerful advocacy groups within companies that also help create a sense of inclusion and belonging, also gives voice to employees. So I know that that is a very powerful option for folks to have. Christy, coming to you. So I oftentimes we get the questions, right? Like how are our companies preparing, mentoring, and coaching folks from diverse backgrounds to enter and position them in critical leadership roles, right? Oftentimes we hear folks really going in and talking about that diversity only sits in a particular layer of the organization, right? We got to be honest about that. How is Bank of America taking up some leadership around really nurturing this talent and preparing them for the next leadership roles?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I'll start with kind of the theme from my pitch, which was responsive leadership, right? So our CEO and our management team are intimately involved in all of our plans and strategies around this. So our management team is 55% people of color, diversity, and 32% female, and their values drive all of this. The actionable things we do, it's everything from executive development programs where we take high potential talent and put them through specialized training, mentoring, and coaching to develop their skills. We have My D&I Learning that's available for everyone in the company, where we create skills around cultural competence, right? So how do people understand people who are coming from different walks of life, who have different opinions, who have different voices, making sure that our individuals have a really good grasp on that. We do something that we call courageous conversations across the company. And these are chances for us to get together in big forums and small and talk about topics that are central to who we are from a diversity and inclusion standpoint, whether it's something around race, gender, sexual orientation, individuals with disabilities, right? There's a lot of sharing within Bank of America. And then also we have let's get real conversations. You know, when things happen in the world that come into the workplace that cause stress and anxiety and tension with our employees, then we talk about that too, right? So it's really a combination of making sure that everyone understands the core values, that everyone has cultural competence, that we have specialized training programs for individuals who are high potential to make sure that we're developing their leadership skills and they're getting them into work that's missional and passionate, they're passionate about. And then it's having the courageous conversation where we need to make sure that we're continually getting better. One of the many reasons I've stayed at Bank of America for 20 years is I've been so impressed with the company's desire to continue to learn, to continue to improve, to continue to be more inclusive. I mean, that is just a core value of who we are. We are never satisfied, right? We always want to be better than we were yesterday. So.
Mhm, mhm. That's a look at that. That's a mic drop there, Christy. So it's so important, right? Because then the next question has to do around how do we provide culturally competency training, right? We are gone are the days, I really believe this, that people just simply being able to tell you the definitions of what diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice was sufficient, right? We're now in a place in which we're looking for talent that can not only know the meaning of that, but they can fully integrate it into their work and being able to really live out those values and those skill sets when it comes to that. So many of our companies are also not only having those expectations, but also providing some additional training across the board to make sure that we're elevating this understanding around cultural competency. And I will turn it over to Dina to talk a little bit about what does that look like at Power to Fly? What has worked well? What do you think maybe some areas of growth?
Yeah, thank you for this question, Dr. Ida. So our DEIB team is conducting an extensive training program with a multiple training session and different stages actually for all employees and for all newcomers. It's a very interactive training, I would say, because I have attended all of them. It's a very interactive training with a lot of useful information and case studies and practices as well. It's not about giving a theoretical thoughts. There is a big part of our session dedicated for practice and deep discussion between the attendees. At the moment, I don't think we need to apply any improvements for this session. It's just great and very informative, like speaking of the sessions we are conducting in Power to Flight, especially. Yeah.
And I would add, since I'm part of the team to do that, we do assess, right, where people are at in terms of their learning and have adjusted to create kind of a 1.0, a 2.0, and then a 3.0 version of it, which is where we're heading. That way, then we really are really grounded in the work and continue to advance and grow through that lens. So I really appreciate that. We have about 9 more minutes. See, it's like there's just so much like amazing information to come along. But see, this just gives you all as participants more delicious questions to bring up to the recruiters as you get to spend some time with them. So I'm going to, I get to ask Cody, back to you. The Be Nerdy thing, I'm still there with you. And so talk to me about the additional resources that Science Logic may provide to really support equality, and I would say equity as well, and to your team members.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ida. There's a couple different things that I want to touch on here for everyone on the call. The first is from an equity standpoint. When you look at Science Logic, from our most entry-level new grad hires all the way up to the top and the CEO and everyone in between, each new hire that we have, each employee that we have, has a stake in the game from an equity standpoint. What that means is you have a slice of the pie in terms of what you're helping build at Science Logic. So that is one very key differentiator for us within the markets that we hire within. We're offering stake in the game, ownership to each employee that we have. That's 650 team members today that have a piece of the pie and a part of something bigger than just themselves, which could turn out to be very lucrative for each one of us here at Science Logic. And I think that's a key differentiator. And you don't see all companies across the board offering equity to each employee that they have across the globe. The second thing that I would love to touch on a little bit more here for you guys, I mentioned this in my last response, is the employee resource groups. This is something that we hold very close to our vest and something that is very important to us as an organization. They are the ERGs, the employee resource groups, that provide connection and additional avenues of support to a wide variety of underrepresented populations. As of today, we have active employee resource groups to include PAL-HER, which is our women's network. We have Science Logic Veterans. We have Silo Pride, representing our LGBTQIA+ community, as well as Latinx and Black logicians. That is one area that is very important to us. We will continue to build these ERG groups out and add new resource groups within our organization. Just this month, I know that we have a potluck style Latinx supported and ran lunch in the office. We are headquartered in the Northern Virginia area, close to Washington, D.C. That is one that I'm very much looking forward to. And we will continue to build on these and add. The other thing on the ERGs very quickly that I'd add is these are resource groups that are ran by employees. They are not ran by external agencies or contractors or higher ups within our organization. These groups are ran by people like you on this call today, which makes it even more special and something that we are very proud of.
That's so exciting. We have one more question and we'll open it up. We know that we're tight, but please know you're going to have your breakout rooms. We want you in those breakout rooms to make sure that you're connecting with folks. So for the three of you, with COVID, now we're in this side of the pandemic where the news came out today, right, that we're seeing the least number. We're seeing a significant decrease, right, in terms of people who are getting the virus to folks who are unfortunately passing from it. And that's a matter of perspective, right? Because in some places we don't have the most accurate data, right? So there's a lot of things that have come from that. Christy, let me start with you. How has how has Bank of America embraced work-life balance, especially as a shift from COVID? And where do you still see that there may be some growth and some opportunities for your company?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've had work come into life and life come into work in ways that we've never experienced before. So I'm working from home today and my dog is barking and I'm just like praying, right, that he can keep it quiet until the end of the call. But what we're trying to do a number of things. One, we're really trying to understand what our employees need. So we have not come out with this global edict around work posture, people working from home, working from the office, because we really want to understand, what do people need? Is it more leave programs? Is it flexible schedule? Do they need a shorter commute? And it may look different for us because we're a lot of different businesses within a business. So I think there's a real sincere intent on our part to understand work-life balance and understand what we need to offer. That aside, I think the thing that I appreciate most about the last 2 years, it's increased all of our empathy for one another. And again, I think even the barking dog or the kid who joins the conference call, it's given us a look into our personal lives in a way that we haven't experienced before. And I think it's really helped with the family feel, right, of our Bank of America culture, which we already had. It's also made our leaders more conscious about connecting with individuals. And that's, for some people, that's walking around the floor and saying hello and saying, how are you doing today? For others, it might be placing calls straight to people who are still working remotely. But, the short answer is there is room for improvement. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out what our employees need. And then just like we do everything else, be really responsible about, okay, here's what we need to offer to make sure that work and life are properly integrated.
Cody, your thoughts?
Yes. I very much attached to what Christy said as well in regards to there's always room for improvement. If you think you're done and you've improved enough, tomorrow you're going to be behind. So we're always looking for ways to adapt and shift to continue to support our workforce. As of today, we are over 60% remote, offering many of our learning and development programs virtually. We've also moved to a hybrid approach for our offices, leaning on the office as a resource for employees and for more intentional or purposeful in-person events. I'm in the office today for a bridal shower that's happening for a team member later today. But I have young kids as well and find myself working from home a couple days a week simply because it's easier to get to daycare to pick them up at the end of the day. Um, in the US, we offer flexible time off, also known as unlimited PTO. I've used that. I've taken advantage of that already in my 2 months here. And virtual wellness classes such as yoga and activities for all with a constant focus on the health and well-being for the employees that we have across the globe.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Dina, can you get us wrapped up in this one?
Yeah, sure. So to be honest with you, that since I mentioned earlier that we are a fully remote team, we have never worked from office, so we did not face many challenges with COVID. So pandemic did not really affect our work-life balance, but during pandemic, the company used to arrange some sessions to assure the employees are maintaining a good health, mental health, and we had to work on some planning for our team, especially like a lot of team member got like infected by the COVID itself. So we just work on some planning, but to be honest, we did not face a lot of challenges since we are a fully remote team already.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
Of
Dr.
course.
Ida, can I add one more quick thing? So, the work-life balance versus working remotely and in the office is an interesting one, right? I think a lot of our employees might have said they worked more when they were working from home because they had a hard time turning work off, right? And we're wrestling with that a little bit too. And one of the things that we want people to do, we just announced a new sabbatical program where after you've been here 15 years, you're going to get 6 weeks off just to go reinvest in yourself. So I say that to say, I think it's important for people to be able to turn work off sometimes too, regardless of whether you're working remotely or working from home. So thanks for indulging me. I wanted to get that one quick point in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we're in a capitalistic society, right? That's like bodies is production. So we get really wired to really tie in and just work. And that's also highly unhealthy for us. So we're getting ready to make a transition. I want to leave my speakers with a few things that I kind of saw quickly that may be good to bring up in the smaller groups to address. There were questions around like centering the voices of neurodivergent folks, like how do we fold in folks with disabilities around diversity, equity, and inclusion work, and just overall the different types of works that are available. Also in terms of the nuances around race. Cody, this might come up a lot in the ERDs as well, right? Just like Latinx people, there's a variety of folks, different cultures. Some of our folks mentioned that. So I think just to keep some of those pieces in mind. And then also globally, we have a number of people who are joining us from outside of the United States that may have questions around how do they apply for jobs? How do they get connected? There's some possibilities there, especially now that we have some opportunities to work remotely.